regarding the incident that has happened in Hagen. And I want to thank, and we have did our part, doing all the police report, investigation. It went through the court, but it went to committal law. I'm not privy of the details yet, but the recent incident that happened in Hagen created raised a lot of concerns and with all our people around the country. We've been having a lot of gender-based violence, and our police force have actually been trying to nail this problem through setting up family sexual violence units across the country in all our provinces. And this is a glitch that we are getting article on the social media and on the mainstream too, but I want to say that we'll get down to it and we'll find out what's the real cost behind it. But I want to thank the family who want to seek justice in a proper manner by the rule of law. All right, back to the minister's question, the member for Ejipetari. First question number one, about can the minister assure this House honorable laws about the crimes and the strategic and the actions the police are taking? Yes, Mr. Speaker, we are aware of all the seriousness and the rise in the crime and the petty crimes across the country. And we are working on it. We have a lot of legacy issues, but Mr. Speaker, let us not point fingers here. Let's not blame the governments of the past and the governments of current. I think law and order issue is everything. I want to tell the people too that we shouldn't be blaming the police. We should be pointing fingers to ourselves. Let's take law and order together as one. But as part of the police plans, yes, we have a 10-year plan now, saying the problems we are going through. It won't be an overnight solution. It can't be an overnight gig. We have a 10-year plan. That is in our corporate plan. In the whole 10-year plan, we have a budget for 1.3 billion to go through the entire police system, increase the numbers, plan out into community policing, the reservists, trying to get the responsibility back into the provincial government system. And I want to let the member of the Ejipetari know through your office, through your chair, that yes, we have a plan. And we will work through this plan in the next 10 years, but we need cooperation of everyone across the country. It can't be the police only doing it. 6,000 policemen and women cannot solve your problems. Most of the time, you play yet creating problems, na biyan sana long na blaming policy a maski. You may got common sense. Let's be responsible and let's take policing and law and order our business instead of making police business. Okay, number two question about the administrative. Let me say that in our corporate plan, let me go a little bit on that. We, Mr. Speaker, we have issues in the administrative and also in the general policy. You know, our concept is to serve and protect, but to do serve and protect, they all associated services that come with it in the area of procurement, logistics, forensic. In the entire 10-year plan, we're going to beef it up, try to modernize policy in these areas. So I'm sure that in the next 10 years, we will get there. I need the support of the entire country. Number two question. If the funding is the issue, what is your plans or strategies, the ministry and department, to acquire funding for the funding from the Department of Treasury and Finance? Yes, Mr. Speaker, we are constantly talking to the Department of Treasury and Finance now, and we're having meetings, dialogues. Despite the COVID issues, we are getting positive response. On top of the funding constraints and the COVID affecting us, we have the election coming up in 7 months. So we are not asking them for only one funding for the entire country. We are asking them a lot of funding for our corporate plans, for the election, and also we are managing the COVID. So I will assure you, Mr. Speaker, that our plans and our programs have already been uplifted into both finance and treasury, and we are working on securing the funding to assist to all these obstacles. Uh, That's it. Number 3 question. Will your ministry and department look at the outside of PNG for help, or can we look at Australia for support, personal, if in-house funding is an issue? Yes, we have an extensive program, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that's called our PNG Australian Partnership Program. There was an issue brought up here in this parliament so many times by the Governor of Anga. A lot of members here are asking for outside help. The help they're giving us is through building up our capacity, infrastructure, and upskilling and reskilling in the areas of training, leadership training. It's a lot of cooperation, partnership programs we are running now, currently with Australia. And some of the things are the Bomana Training College, which is fully done now. We have the training facilities, the accommodation of Lucian Block. All the facilities have been upgraded. It cost about 11 million, funded by APP, Australian PNG and Australian APP program. We have the Station of Excellence in Waigani, refurbishment of national forensic, installation of ID system, fingerprints. There's a lot of programs we are doing with Australia, partnership program. Also, in the training areas too, we're doing a lot there. But for them to come physically on the ground and be with our policemen, do actual policing job is something that we as a government to talk to them as a government. This is a case surrounding immunity, a lot of issues there, so I've asked them, but we have not further on the discussion on this. But as it is, yes, Australia has helped us a lot. We have an invitation from Korea too, the Korean government, to they want to come in to assist us in the cybercrime area and security system, which we're looking at it too. So these are 2 countries that we are engaging now at the moment. Okay, for the Honorable Member for Egyptari's 4th question, is there a strategy to implement speedometer, random and structured roadside breadth analysis? Yes, we want to go to that. We want to go to that level. This is modernizing our police, and there'll be a collaboration working between the Ministry of Transport and a lot of stakeholders and partnership here. We want to see that happen. But again, let's run through our programs, train our people up, upskill them properly before we can go into this area of training. Can your ministry, number 5 question, can your ministry department revisit community-based constable? Yes, community-based constable, community-based constable program to address some of the petty crimes in our community. Yes, Minister, we are aware of that. We all come to the system where community-based policing was very active at that time. For over the years, that section of the police had come to a natural death, and in our corporate plan, we want to take it on. But this time, we will not be taking on as from Waigani. This time, we want to partner with all the provincial governments. So the provincial government must take ownership of this one. We all in our DSAP and PSAP receive 1 million each. And I'd say on this floor of parliament, that our community base is the very most important police section and division, which really looks down into the community. Not only that, the police only cannot do that in the district level. Police cannot work alone. We need the whole section to work alone. We need the police. We must have 20, 30 police in one district. We must have a little courthouse there. We must have a little CIS there, so that justice is seen from the district level. Right now, there is non-presence of justice. We are the presence of only justice, the presence of security in the districts are the police only. So I act that we all district members, provincial members, we talk together. We got a MOU in place. Community-based police is the way forward. Come and we talk together and let's work it out together. We cannot handle it here from Waigani because it involves a lot of stakeholders and finance and budget, which I encourage you all members to come and talk to us. And thank you, Honorable Member for Egyptari, to bring this one up. Number 6 question. The Ministry and Department issue a blanket ban on production of alcohol, which is causing a lot of serious accidents and related accidents around. Yeah. Mr. Deputy Speaker, That is not within our jurisdiction. We only protect, serve, and manage the law, but when it coming down us to make a decision and go and stopping down production factories, it's not within our jurisdiction. But as you bring it up here, I think the related state agency will be taking note of this one. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Honourable members, I wish to inform the Parliament that Bishop Reverend Stephen Bai, Women Ministry from the United Church of Papua New Guinea, Hela region, are present in the public gallery. On behalf of the National Parliament, I extend them very warm welcome. The Honourable Member for Kiriwina-Goodenough.
Speaker, my question without notice is directed to the good Minister for Agriculture. Sometime last year, he visited my district town of Bryan, where he visited the old rice mill, and I thank him for asking some residents there to do some cleanup around that old rice mill. He also invited me to his office and passed me a letter saying that the department had intentions to establish a seed station for the region in the district town. My question is that concept still in his, or plan still in the department's radar for implementation? Or has he shelved it, or has he decided to take that away from Kiriwina district people? Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Agriculture Minister.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Thank you. I'd like to thank the Honourable Member for Kiriwina-Goodenough for his question. Yes, I confirm I visited Bryan, and I gave money to the boys, to the youths there, to clean the rice mill, which was totally run down. Actually, the funding that was given to them was from my pocket as well. I saw the youths there. I saw the rice mill all in bush. So I actually took out the money from my pocket and I gave it to them. We will be back. And yes, I remember I have not solved that idea. Actually, there were funding being allocated, and I think you would have known of a situation that happened in the department, and I am addressing that. And as soon as I sort the issue with the department and make funding available, we would like to pursue the idea. We are working, the department itself is, we're working on reducing import, and rice is one of the areas that the country continues to import. And in import replacement, we're looking at rice and beef and those areas to work on. So Kiriwina and the plain there's a very big land there that we'd like to use as well. So to answer the member's question in short, yes, we are looking at it, and as soon as funding becomes available, Member, I will be in touch with you on that. Thank you.
Member for Aitape, Rumi.
Question blomi establo notice paper by me directing me along Minister Blong Health. This is in relation to the Delta variant that is believed to be present in our country now, and my question is specific with regards to the border provinces of Western Province and Sundown Province, where we share a common border with Indonesia that is currently experiencing a huge surge in Delta variant. Mr. Speaker, as we know, Western Province and Sundown Provinces are first-line province of our country, and if this variant entered our country through the border provinces, God knows what will happen to the rest of the country. So question blomi ino stop lo notice paper igo long minister also one plan long government long border provinces. Now suppose you got plan, what is the level of resources that this government intends to spend on border provinces in mitigating and containing the spread of this variant in our country? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister for Health.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and I thank the good member of Vaitapelumi for bringing this question to Parliament. At this point of time, as we speak, we have a surveillance team up in Sandaun Province and in Western Province. They're going right through the whole two provinces to ensure and to survey and make sure and identify what we need to put into place in those areas. So when they come back on Monday, I should have a better view of what we can put in there. The surveillance team is also is compromised. It's composed of some of our foreign partners as well. So we should have a better outlook on this next week. While I have the floor on this, I really thank the member for bringing this up. This Delta variant is coming right across our country. The first best thing that we could do is to get vaccinated. I hate to ask the question in this honorable house who has been vaccinated and who has not been, but it is up to us as leaders and a responsible government to ensure that our people know the facts and that vaccination is there to prevent COVID-19 and this Delta variant within our country. So with that, I ask all leaders to be responsible and talk to our people when you're in your electorates and ensure that they get vaccinated, because the vaccines are now in every single province. With that, thank you, Deputy Speaker.
The honourable member for Pomio.
Through Deputy Speaker, my question without notice is to the Minister for Justice and Attorney General and the Minister for Health to take note. My question relates to a matter that was raised in Parliament by both the Governor for East Pacific and the Member for Abau this week. This is in relation to the unfortunate fatalities or deaths of 4 of our citizens after being operated at the Port Moresby General Hospital, operating theatre. PNG Loop News dated 26th of August 2021 quoted Dr. Liko, Secretary for Health, alerting all provincial hospitals, including all pharmaceutical importers, of the use of a particular drug called propofol, that they believe had the fatal effects on those patients. On Monday this week, September, the same news article that came from a PNG Loop also said that quoted a leading pathologist at PMGH advising the family members of those deceased patients to delay the autopsy or post-mortem and ask for a coroner's inquiry into the deaths. The pathologist said, and I quote, "These are no ordinary deaths, and the implications of the investigations are quite serious," off quote. Mr. Speaker, I know that the Speaker responded this week saying that the Parliamentary Committee on Public Accounts will not pursue this matter. But on behalf, as a Senior Minister for Health, and also in my capacity as the co-chairman of the Special Parliamentary Committee on Public Sector Review and Service Delivery on health matters, I think this is a very important case that must be pursued. And from this opposition, we support the senior pathologist call at PMGH to delay the autopsies or the post-mortems and to call for a coroner's inquiry.
Honourable Member, we have a point of order. Minister, what's your point of order?
Deputy Speaker, this case
is being investigated at the moment, at the highest degree of our government. We are a responsible government. We have to ensure that the investigations are done properly. Asking questions in Parliament may preempt a decision that can go wrong. As the Shadow Minister for Health, he should realize that we have processes that we follow.
Honorable Minister, are you trying to answer the question? I will rule your point of order out of order. I'll ask the member to complete his question, and the minister can respond if you have a detail of information you have. The minister can respond on that. Member, you continue.
Thank you, through Deputy Speaker. There's a Coroner's Act of 1953, Section 7E, that talks about such cases. Where all money ego lao sikna, only give suit law, only die. Coroner got jurisdiction investigate law. Also, I'm asking Minister la question today. Law, we can direct him. NCD Coroner, law investigate law this la. Die we come up law for the line blame la country. Number two, I'm long investigate or find out too how does la margin come la country blow me. Then become one process. Whether they go through the pharmaceutical services standards, the Department of Health, or come one process that come to country blow me. How does la margin go through? They end up long public health system blow me. La country. Now, if this particular report, once this is done by the coroner, can this report be tabled on the floor of Parliament for us to know? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister for Justice.
Deputy Speaker, and I'd like to acknowledge the good question asked by the member for Pomio. I believe this question was raised earlier in this session, but he's asking a specific question in whether the Department of Justice, as a minister responsible, can to direct a coroner's inquest. The answer is yes, in relation to that question. The specifics concerning that case, obviously it's an issue of national interest. I believe I initially requested information from the Minister for Health, which he actually provided a brief that actually answers some of those questions that you asked in relation to the actual batches, where they came in from. I understand initially it was accused of a company called Bonio, but actually that's, from the findings, is not actually correct. But because it relates specifically in the Health Department, and I will give that opportunity for the Health Minister for issue a public statement, he has actually provided a brief at our request. Once we establish what are the causes of wrongful death, and then the issue of the department to move to a coroner's inquest, and then from there establish the cause of death to be what the actual issues based on facts, and then the state would then consider whether wrongful death on the side of the state, and also the pharmaceutical company that provided those batches. So those families can be compensated without having to take the state to court when a protracted case, win the case, and still don't get paid. So in that regard, I can give you a commitment by DJ, but again, we can't make actual specific comments until we receive a full investigation. But I welcome the question of the coroner's inquest, and we definitely will consider that, and once we establish what the facts are from the investigation from the health, and we hope in the next month, no later than a month, that some action can be taken in that regard. Thank you.
We have a supplementary.
The supplementary question is, when you have 4 people dying in the hospital, Mr. Deputy Speaker, to the Minister of Justice, is that it's a serious issue. If the system followed that did not detect the defects in those pharmaceuticals that ended up in causing fatality in the hospital, it is a serious issue. So I ask this question in that those people who are responsible, can they be suspended from office or work so that that investigation can be done?
Honorable Member, we have a point of order. We have a point of order from the Prime Minister, so I'll ask. Prime Minister, your point of order.
Mr. Speaker, with greatest of all respect to the member for Kandep, an adequate response has been made on this matter. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to point you to Section 141 of the Standing Orders. When matters are implied or there's an inference without actual substance, and especially in matters of sensitivity like this, due care must be given. Investigations, assurance to our country has already been given. Investigations are underway. We cannot make imputations or inferences whilst awaiting full investigation on this highly sensitive matter. And I'd just like to make this point of order in case, Mr. Speaker, you may assist this Parliament in making correct questions on these sort of sensitive matters that also has imputations attached to it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. Honorable Member, I think the Prime Minister's point of order is in order, and I will not allow for your supplementary question. Thank you. Honorable members, our question time is also lapsed, and I would not entertain any more questions. We will go straight into the grievance debate. Point of order, member for Yalbu Pangia.
Mr. Speaker, the matter raised by the member for Kandep, we are talking about death of Papua New Guineans. The only investigation that can happen under law is coronial inquiry, not a departmental inquiry, not a government agency inquiry, coronial inquiry over a death. That's what the member for Pomio is asking. Why can't the government commit to that? What is there to hide? A magistrate who shall be appointed to investigate this matter. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member for Yalbu Pangia, I think the Minister for Justice have replied that they welcome the question raised by the member for Pomio, and the government is going to look into this matter. And thank you for your point of order, but I will not entertain your point of order. We are now into the grievance debate. Member for Ungai Bena.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The grievance debate, Plumi, I want to say something on agriculture sector. May like to start off with thank the current government for putting money for agriculture intervention of programs. Thank you, Prime Minister and the government. But me like talk to two project where this government am starting again. I just heard the minister talking about rice. Now me like to talk about rice side. Now, Minister Sabe or Sabe, we spend about more than 600 million rice, import rice, country. Now, realizing that, Mibla, this government on this side, Mibla been starting one program one time Philippines government and Prime Minister Lohab M. Sawe. Na midla around one time lo Philippines na looking more at the rice project Lohab. Na 2018, the time lo IPEC, midla been signing one agreement one time Philippines government. Na Philippines government ila buy am la helping palo developing rice. Na am like mo sa midla mas growing more rice plo yimina. Midla mas stop him import. Now save him this 600 million when plus spending law rice every year. Now time lo APEC we have been signing this agreement. Now any surplus rice we have producing PNG producing Indonesia la buy mogata Philippines la buy mogata. So that was a good arrangement. Now meeting or same minister by continue one time this la good by initiative when we starting. For some reason, there's seed market or seed farm where people are starting 8 miles. No boost crab you. The idea was to grow rice there, kiss some seed, distribute it in Central, to start off with Central, and then distribute to other parts of the country. A good program. By now, we should be producing our own rice. I mean, why Agriculture Department, continue and then it's a good initiative. Now, you mean talk rice now. Now, you mean growing rice yet? Now, whilst we were in office, we start government, we encourage him Deputy Minister, Speaker, lo electric beli mi bela goreng rice one time trukai rice. Now we had rice lo supermarkets lo lena what must be rice ya or call him hummus rice. So si bila bini go inside lo store, ba bila looking hummus rice. Just like gaman lo hit, just like side been starting this project. Now mi bila put him rice on the shelf. Na meeting or somebody me continue. Just like tintin me die. You know, say politics so. Or when I making you plan to continue, Minister, you just so sabe. No, me finish past the Minister. You say
Honorable Minister, what's your point of order?
I'm grievance debate. Miss Sawe, so former Minister. I'm not talk straight or some. The government, you know, been putting component blongol. Now, Philippines government is back off. I'm side the Philippines government will make him. The government at the time had not
Honorable Minister.
There was a.
I will stop you.
I must talk straight. Must get German about.
Honorable Ministers, I want to inform the House and the honorable members, ministers, this is a grievance debate time. Let every member express what they feel about what you are doing in your division department. Take note of that, and maybe you can respond to that in your ministerial statement at other time. So I'll ask the member to continue with your grievance debate.
in last team lo question time, that's all. You run out lo time. But you must have 2018 and mipla time lo ipek mipla sign ma. Na government changed lo 2019. Na suppose me continue na start lo government mipla by fund him. I'm not putting money. Also, na me ask him to solve them. Why na you no continue? Minister no continue. Prime Minister by support him. Na also na me talk. You me talk lo forex problem na. You me talk lo, you know, economic crisis that government is going through, or the country is going through. One way lo producing rice, na saving just 600 million. Going block spending low rice. Also, na me talk a good project where me been starting na all no continue. That's my concern. For what reason? Minister na emta sol sabe. One department blowing. Number two, one good project, one good initiative me starting. You know, one foreign investment. All I working inside long integrated agriculture park. Eastern Highlands. Now I'm by branch out to Momase, Nigini Islands, now by come down to Central, now go Upper Highlands, base law, Western Highlands. That's like minimum same. That's like company by spending 540 million US. Now develop him, put him up downstream processing or plants. Now all the commodities, you just name him. You call it carrot, vegetables, citrus, livestock, all something that Papua New Guinea am producing. All like working downstream processing and selling to China. So 540 million US was made available. All they asked for was ground, make land available. Now, Lohena Wategoa, Minister, me talking to you also, this line, one good initiative. Now I'm good, market access flow, people here. Now I'm to talk helping people no place. No cacao, no coffee, no kind, no penny market. That was a good initiative. Me plus to take him this down. Now by now, we should be doing downstream processing. You talk about kakaro kiawa, you talk about livestock, cattle, pig, whenever you name more livestock here. Now vegetables, coffee, cocoa, copra. I all like working downstream processing here. I'm by helping go through this black country and people blow me, or farmers blow me. Now me talk also, please, Minister, me losing the project one time you. By now, when is it you make him? When is it government make him? Good project here. Now this la dasi Kramer this la submission. No one walking on top again. Sorry. You know, this was in the best interest of farmers in Papua New Guinea. You know, potato, cacao, cassava. Name something, anything that people producing in the country will buy them working downstream processing. 540 40 million US was made available. All yet by funding. No at 1 plus something. They didn't ask for anything from Papua New Guinea government. No equity. What they asked for was Girantaso. Now me talk. This is the issue, Minister. Yuxim office, please take it on. Now continue. We know, sir. Politics on. Making a even one more. By now we should be exporting all our vegetables to China. Now China took all same, all the produce to Papua New Guinea, it's like a drop in an ocean. You're not feeding Mogata, you'll be feeding only one province. So, that's like golden opportunity we had. Go same. Now by election now. But me also, sorrow of farmers, me concern of farmers. Na mi bla tok forex hey by mi bla ko money bla US council country or farmers by will empower them to put money into their pockets. No what now? One is only making politics or one. Politics should never be pursued. Interest for people must be put in camp past them. I hope you may nubla kamani come will pursue this project. Last plus something me like talk loen. Me raise my question lo here. Question about systematic corruption. Lo one department, labor and industry. Minister go away, Minosawe. When I asked the question, he was in his office. I'm Ronnie come I'm like Simsian I answer him. The Prime Minister Waklo ila try to answer him. This la question at that time. Prime Minister, you must stop the flow. You can hide the office now. You had a question or local asking here. So that was a question Mitino, so I remember come and respond to her. I had it in writing, and me give him law, office lawyer. Mitino never respond. Systematic corruption. All senior officers or conspire on them, secretary, that defraud him state. Millions after millions of Rausin. Not one blow walking. That was a serious issue. Corruption, when it by me, we remove corruption. If you have corruption in your department, don't sit on it. React on it.
Honorable Member, your 10 minutes of grievance debate has been lapsed. And we have a point of order from the Minister. Minister, what's your point of order?
My point of order is when matters of this nature concerning ministers in the department, it would be ideal the question is asked during question time. Using grievance time to point out to departments and the ministers as you're out there performing, I don't think it is proper. At that point in time, I had the opportunity to answer a series of questions. However, I stepped out for a while and my good Prime Minister answered his questions in my stead. Yesterday, I took in possession of his letter. I will be responding to him in due course. However, when I have the floor on my point of order, may I suggest the whistleblowers to provide documentary evidence, documented and with reference to any allegation made. You are covered by the Whistleblowers Act.
Honorable
put
Minister.
in plain writing on the paper and present colorful words to make it an allegation.
Honorable Minister, you will allow the chair to make a ruling on your point of order. Honorable members and honorable ministers, I, as Deputy Speaker, would like to issue a statement in regarding to our fellow member from the opposition's grievance debate and inform the House, and you have raised a point of order on that. I want to inform all members, if you are raising a grievance debate, a minister is representing a government, and for us to specify a minister in a grievance debate can provoke a confrontation of debate in the floor of Parliament. Therefore, any grievance debate that you would like to raise, raise a grievance debate in general of the government for what the government is embarking on, and the government can look to this kind of policy instead of us pinpointing individual ministers that might provoke confrontation in our grievance debate. So, Honorable Minister, your point of order is taken as the statement that I issue. Grievance debate continue. I'll allow for member for Northeast.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Me like talk law and order. Me like go back and lo question lo Ijibitari, honorable member for Ijibitari. I'm asking the police minister. Now police minister I'm talk got jurisdiction or I'm by not answering. So me like ego inside Mona. Talk law and order, lo touch him this la point. All get 89 districts, you play Kamla Mosby City, now you play stop. Now what's happening in the city? You all get a look somewhere, lo one kind law and order. Okay, time you me talk to law and order. And me come lo 2 mile, 8 mile, 9 mile, lo one em up. You me thinking, what's the cost of it? And then you me find him out also. All he drink some kind beer. And before, when you think back 10 years ago, beer come to SP Brewery, and we only got quality check or control with some art in department, blow you me, or commerce and industry, only check him. Now worry palm, quality check, quality control. Now percentage of beer, it's control. Like 330 milliliters you make is in the bottle. It's 4.5%. Okay, now you may look him. Kind factory, Ikamlo city. Okay, it's going back again, that control. And then now you may talk about Marasin. Custom work lo kisim text as well, you know, check him. Oh, and become lo balus. The very in front of I believe me look him, factory work lo produce him. 45%, 50% of alcohol percentage. This does all work lo create him law and order, problem blow you me. And JBW, now me bla talk, all man in can fight him Mary. All man in can fight him Pigni Nigel. That's all work lo fight him. And you look him online, lo town to by look him all yambla man blow you me. Rousing traces, half nege 20 to ya, 30 to ya. Lol this la beer. I think lo district me engage in one blood doctor. Lo find out the root cause. And then sambla all talk cost lo this la copy funds. Towita. Now all work lo find him, all work case study stuff. Okay, me like asking you all members of parliament. Now look online lo backside blow you me. All school picking stuff today. Time you give 20 kilo lunch money lo picking you must be very careful. Because 250 milliliter, you know you call him one M, baby Coke. The percentage of alcohol in there is equivalent to 12 packs or even a carton of beer. So time you give him picking money like you go to school, you must be also very careful too, because the coffee bars, it's just like sweet blonde and not or 75. Just like you walking hot when I'm gorga coffee. You put him name, call his stuff, now you feel sweet, now you up him. That's the same thing in heaven. And it might happen to our very kids today. So me like him authority blow you me, government blow you me must look away. Lo a standard or a control point or he got quality check lo all the manufacturing industry lo country blow you me, especially alcohol related. So that they must check him thoroughly that the percentage is standard percentage required by government because we are government. We must control. Now you look in plan the old foreigners to Kennedy Estate or one estate only got. And only him go through. In the house you don't know and I don't know. Kind can smoke only walk him. My fellow members in this parliament, we are here to make law. If we see things right in the capital city of Port Moresby, it will happen to your electorate. It will happen to your province. You must sign up, now you must fix him. Now after that's all look him. Midla governor blowing me go settle men upgrading the 8 mile, na me black am also. Lo 8 mile roundabout, na come lo Kennedy, na me like Abraham, na come to no God. Ethnic classes lo 9 mile market, Nubla market you walk him long in. And then I have to ring police to go down there. Also morning, one blow legally market them tintin legally magi Gorka am tintin lo survival blongen. Pa mam running go walk, every market is stop, one plus pagi come, running ma'am, fighting ma'am, only working tax collection here. Because behind me bla find them out of some this bela money am drin. This la kind biaya. Also na me appeal you me all members. What you may need to walk in? You may must walk in because we are going to 22nd century now. I'm Narvla point lo alcohol related. Narvla point me like talk lo hesemi na micro hesemi. Me training more mama blooming already through na by end of this month by me releasing money. One important me got now also some foreigners were all mama blooming market na. Walking money and some foreigners still operating. Are they going to silence my mother's small SME mothers? The established. Now walk man blo Papua New Guinea can walk long end. You may look kind man saram na put in plastic stuff. Our foreigners all China Kong. Are we doing anything? You may talk doesn't learn and lose like go. At the next meeting you may come back again. We are still repeating. Honorable members of this parliament, we are here to make law. What happened in Port Moresby might happen in all the provinces. Because this is the capital metropolitan city, everything is happening here. But you saw case lawyer, now you must work in some law. Now you must send him. It's about time. One of this law, Deputy Speaker, me talk strong to master, so I'm coming in a background settlement where Mr. Settlement most of my life. And I've seen that. Now look, if CD, I'm Governor blowing Mr. Buckshite, 1 million people. Still people like walking no God, still disturbance on the other side. Kind heavy work will come up. It's about time you stop now. Work in some kind law so that there is control mechanism in place. You mean like labor must work one time, migration. Migration must work one time, commerce and industry. Na sambla to you talk old man. Ina sawalo talk pitching by ina kamlo country. Sambla foreigners ina sawalo talk English won't be here. But only kamlo here na line talk English can. Pitching can. What's happening? That means that a control mechanism, law department, believe me, look at him, it's not in order. We have to fix it. Deputy Speaker, thank you. Me talk strong too much.
The Honourable Member for Kiriwina-Goodenough.
Give me opportunity to talk click. Plenty good talk go finish. Mr. Speaker, I know from hearing this morning at the caucus, the Prime Minister and a big delegation will be leaving for U.S. very shortly, and one of the purpose of visiting would be the COP26. The COP26, and I'd like to speak about the importance of mangroves, because I come from a coastal area, and the importance of peat soils in our country. For the information of those who do not know what peat soils and the importance of peat soils are areas, dry areas within the mangroves, and the importance of the soil, the black soil under the mangroves that store a lot of emissions, carbon emissions. And I say this because I was driving down to Napa oil refinery a few weeks ago, and I was surprised to see, astounded to see the level of development in that area, but more so the level of damage they've caused to the surrounding and especially the mangrove forest in that area. And the concern that I had, a few months ago, some people went to the traditional fishing grounds within that mangrove area, and especially the people of Porabada, and they were actually chased out of the traditional fishing grounds. And my main concern here about the mangroves is this. As former forest minister and one who has attended COP21 in Paris, we spoke about the importance of conserving mangroves in coastal areas. And Papua New Guinea presented a paper when it came to peat soils and mangrove areas. And very recently, I think about a year ago, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there was a paper presented about the blue water concept in Fiji. And Papua New Guinea was a part to that. And my, Mr. Speaker, I stand here to debate on the fast development that is happening in Papua New Guinea. The development that is happening in terms of gas and oil finds within the Papuan coastline. I hear there is exploration happening down in the Abau coast, Arama coastline going down. And those areas also have vast areas of peat soils and mangroves. And when I look down here at Napa area, and I see fast development coming up, and the devastation and destruction of mangrove areas, it makes me wonder, and I have a concern when it comes to the Department of Environment and Conservation. Have we incorporated in our designs and in our developments to conserve this fragile ecosystem, or have we not? If we haven't built around those areas, if we haven't
designed around those areas, we have set some precedents that needs to be corrected. And I say this because most of you who are on this floor of Parliament have flown between Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, and Singapore. And when you fly over Indonesia, you see fires and smoke, fire especially, that has been burning for the last 15 to 20 years. And one would wonder, what's happening down there? The fires that are burning in the forest and areas of Indonesia, are the result of pit soils that are burning. And they've been burning for the last 15 to 20 years. And these ecosystems have developed, have evolved in the last thousands of years. And it took man to destroy them in the last 10 years. And these fires have been burning, burning, burning. If we are not very careful with our mangroves here and the pit soils that we have, the rich pit soils that store the emissions that we create, man-made emissions, the pit soils and the mangroves actually store 10,000 cubic meters of emissions more than the general forest that we talk about. And so it is very, very important that we in this house, and especially the minister, take note of conserving these areas, the mangrove areas, the pit soils, that we have to be serious about the mangroves. One thing I take note of, and that is the natural buffer that mangroves provide for us. When there is cyclones, when there is high waves, when there is strong winds, mangrove provide buffer for us. And it is very important that we take note of this in our development plans, that we do not destroy what nature has already provided for us, what nature has provided in the last thousands of years. Because if we are not very careful and in the name of development destroy these natural buffers, me talking you, one time strong wind come, it will flatten the nation. And we have to take serious climate change issues in this country. Climate change is real as COVID. And if we are not careful, strong wind by come, rain by come, storm by come, and by destroying shorelines blowing me, people will begin to move inland and inland. Land will become scarce if we are not very careful in protecting these buffer zones that nature has created. Next thing, Mr. Speaker. I'm speaking in Naparapa because it is visible for you and I to see. In the past, that's where the locals go and fish. In the past, that's where fish go and spawn. That's where crabs are found. Today, when you go there, you don't find nothing. Even birds go and live there. Today, you go there, you find nothing. And I'm speaking here for the protection of mangroves right throughout Papua New Guinea, because I come from an area that is protected by mangroves. And I've seen the importance of mangroves. The next thing is the fast-flowing currents that we have in this country need to be seen, need to be taken seriously. The fast-flowing currents in our country actually carry a lot of emissions, and they store them deep down in the ocean depths. And again, I say this because more than 50% of our emissions in the atmosphere is captured and stored in the deep oceans. And the blue ocean concept must be taken very seriously, and I hope Prime Minister and your team, when you go down to COP26, and especially the Minister for Climate Change, can take serious note of the papers that will be presented, and that we participate in the programs, but importantly, that the world must compensate for
the preservation of our natural resources. Yeah. They must take note. You mean not saving Tasol, na stay for the benefit of the world. You too must benefit with what natural resources that we have. Mr. Speaker, me got 1 minute lo finish. Let me take this opportunity, lo this 1 minute. Lo wish him other leaders, the rest of Papua New Guinea, and my people of Kiriwina-Goodenough happy celebrations, lo independence. Take care, and Papa God by stop one time you plan. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Governor for Central.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, for giving the people of Central Province an opportunity to participate in this debate. I'd like to take this opportunity to share a paper I presented in 2018 at the Governors' Conference in Medang. The submission was for priority economic policy agendas for Central Province with significant relevance to other provinces and Papua New Guinea as a whole. The appreciation of uniqueness of Central Province and its challenges. In 1883, the British annexed the territory as British New Guinea, and Port Moresby was established as its administrative capital. At that time, the government present was located at Konedobu, at the hill overlooking the Fairfax Harbour, as it is known as the Government House and Central Province headquarters today. After the defeat of the Germans in the Great War, the League of Nations gave Australia the responsibility to govern and administer the two different territories separately up until the end of the Pacific War, when the two territories were merged as one territory of Papua and New Guinea, under a Trusteeship Act of 1948. The trusteeship existed up until the 25th of August 1975, when the Constituent Assembly of Papua New Guinea passed the National Constitution, which became effective as of the 16th of September 1975. Port Moresby was proclaimed the capital city of Papua New Guinea. The city was initially managed by an interim council, which was then headed by the city mayor. Not until recently, it was elevated to a provincial status as the National Capital District via the National Capital District Commission Act 2000, as amended from time to time. This law is outside the ambit of the Organic Law on Provincial and Local Level Government 1995. This has structurally and functionally suffocated the Central Provincial Government, and which has resulted in significant disadvantages and detriments. Central Province, nevertheless, continues to make unjustified sacrifices and sufferings at the expense of the people's land, water, resources, livelihood, culture, and identity. Significant policy implications and respective disparities over the years created challenges facing the Central Provincial Government and the people of Central Province, which are: Central Provincial Government headquarters in Konedobu became an isolated seat of government without a provincial township and instrumentalities attached to it, and therefore cannot practically and meaningfully serve its purpose as a mandated government instrument to serve the people of its province. Central Provincial Government lost political and administrative jurisdiction over the city of Port Moresby, as well as critical socio-economic assets and infrastructure. There were no consideration for any long-term policies, plans, or program to mitigate impacts on the economy and socio-economic development of Central Province as a result of losses suffered through expropriation and urbanization effects of Port Moresby by the state in relation to creation of a National Capital District and the National Capital District Commission. Confluence of cultural diversity due to increase in population, demand for limited livelihood resources for food, water, shelter, land, cash, and employment opportunities, and the intense level of competition for space, resulting in tension, conflict, and disharmony with the indigenous people of Central Province and the rest of the settlers from around the country. At the crossroads to preserve identity, both historical and cultural heritage, visibility of Central Provincial government, administrative identity, and pursuance of development goals and pathways, and imminent absence of a very clear state policy over 4 decades to help Central Provincial government recoup from structural stresses and socio-economic dilemmas mentioned above remains the greatest challenge facing Central Provincial government and the Central Province as a whole today. Nevertheless, given the very long history of Port Moresby, one can always value and appreciate its history, significance, and the role it played on the process of development of Papua New Guinea. The new strategic direction. I have a vision and plan for Central Province. The essence of my policy direction is to bring back Central Province into the picture. This is essentially entails in the theme our identity, destiny towards a smart and sustainable future. It is both significant and crucial. It is significant because it will inspire our people and government to work towards a shared vision, mission, and goals, while at the same time guide us towards a new pathway which Central Provincial government will lead. In addition, it is crucial because we have reached a point in time where both the identity of our people and its provincial identity or destiny is at stake. It is about our basic human rights, constitutional rights, and democratic rights and freedom being determined and challenged. The vision is a smart Central Province aiming for professional excellence, economic prosperity, and social justice to achieve a smart, productive, and sustainable future. And the goals are ensuring sufficient economic investment to produce adequate socio-economic spin-offs and benefits to enhance people's livelihood at the ward and the village level. Consulting people and getting their consent, then organizing them into incorporated land groups or ILGs and cooperative societies to facilitate especially customary land access for small-scale to large-scale agriculture or commercial agriculture. Drive economic development affairs through Central Province business arm in partnership with the state, landowners, and developers. And to address and reduce chronic economic losses to the revenue and the economy of Central Province as a result of expropriation of Port Moresby and its economic assets and interest. A way forward for Central Province. I intend to create economic stimulants by establishing a critical economic infrastructure to stimulate business and economic growth at strategic locations throughout the province. However, for the purpose of this, I will present economic policy agendas with significant policy implications to other provinces and PNG economy and development progress. A parliamentary petition. The Parliament, in its wisdom, endorsed a petition I presented on behalf of the people of Central Province, especially the Motu Koitabuans, on the 1st of June 2018. A select committee was supposed to be established and announced to make inquiry into all issues affecting my province. This will be the only time in 43 years since PNG independence and 135 years since British annexed Port Moresby and the territory of Papua. In a nutshell, Central Province is the only province now without a provincial capital, a seaport, an airport, and all other economic infrastructure and assets which provincial governments make their internal revenue. More so, it is the only province without a provincial identity. Hence, before I can and talk about my vision and plans, I have to provide political direction to my province and my people for them to see and have confidence in my leadership. So the petition was a vehicle to address all our issues affecting the Central Province, of which some are. Province within a province where national capital district exists within Central Province. No clear land boundary between NCD and Central Province. No clear electoral boundaries between NCD and Central Province. Constant encroachment of Port Moresby City into Central Province. No proper compensation for losses of land and use of water and land resources of Central Province. Loss of economic assets such as seaport, airport, commercial centers. No proper government policy or program to mitigate and compensate for structural losses and impacts of Central Province when Port Moresby was taken over. Central Province do not have a clear-cut role in the governance and management of the affairs of Port Moresby City when we are the rightful landowners of Port Moresby and others. Our land, customary land. PNG, our wealth is our people and our land. 80% of people live in the rural areas and 97% of our land is customary owned. These are two most vulnerable, valuable resources that make up this beautiful country called Papua New Guinea. It is of paramount importance that native people of Papua New Guinea and the customary land be protected at all costs. I propose the Ministry for Native Affairs to be responsible for awareness and consultation and planning of not only the protection of our native land and its people, but also ongoing research on the idea of modeling changes to our way of living. Also to provide for better social security, food security with ongoing research and development of our land for the purpose of commercial use, while allowing for state agencies for regrowth, sustainability, conservation, and all the time in consultation with other state agencies. Strict guidelines and policies need to be established so that in the process of maximum protection and benefits are achieved for the people as we transit into the future. Our future should never be compromised for commercial gain. Moving forward, we need to ask ourselves the question of how do we want to see ourselves in the future? How do we achieve that with minimum destruction to our culture and traditions, our environment and our heritage? How do we maximize on the resources we have that others don't have? How do we drive patriotism, the love for our country, so that our children can walk around and be proud of who we are? What can we do what can we do to be that country that everybody wants to visit, but is only accessible to those that meet the strict criteria that we set, as we have what they love to experience yet don't have? The world needs to recognize us as being special, our identity and our pride. PNG is the last frontier with 800 different languages and cultures that are still practiced today, and in itself is one of the greatest wonders of this world that can be showcased. We can share this with the rest of the world and tell and show how 1,000 different tribes managed to live and survive over 4,000 years up till now, even though being very tribal. We managed our tribes during conflicts and traded with each other in our own unique and special ways. This is where our strength is and can be a world attraction, and in doing so, preserving our culture and heritage, while at the same time bringing that national pride and patriotic spirit back to our people. I am Papua New Guinea. I don't want to be known to the world as an oil and gas nation or an agriculture nation, nor a fisheries nation or a mining nation, as we are all the above. Rather, I want to be appreciated as one of God's greatest handiwork. Views and participation of native people in the development of Papua New Guinea, land, water, marine, and air resources is paramount. This is in accordance to the second directive goal and principles.
Honorable Governor.
Equality.
Honorable Governor.
I'm always going to end down.
Chair, me interrupt him, you know, suppose speech flow you or debate you me long play it, but you can ask him leave the chair incorporate him this floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I should end shortly. Equality and participating and fifth directive goal and principles done in accordance with Papua New Guinea ways. Since independence, the values and traditions in accordance with PNG customary ways have never been given greater prominence. The approaches and experiences to accommodate native form, styles, and structures in land and resources development have been minimal and in ad hoc fashion. The diversity of PNG enjoyed in the sovereign unity speaks volumes about this. It is real in its real capacity, which must be recognized and properly harnessed and developed. Thank you.
The Honorable Member will not fly.
Me contribute to debate lo tete. Everybody come here, this country as a sovereign nation. me sit down and scale him. Also, everything rises and falls with leadership. And my debate this afternoon is regarding the reform of a constitution where you need to focus down the leadership of our nation and how it is governed. There's a Chinese saying that they always say, fish rots from the head. Suppose you scaling fish, I'm just sting away. I'm sting the head now, I'm just go down, na beyond body away. Bagarap. So, for me, I sit down, we talk about all the issues in this country. Me like him this la, me got this heavy, this blah, all get up by me talk yet, now well by finish, or behind time. Everything rises and falls with leadership for this country. In the country, we limit us all. Country, all get have the world. Now we need to fix the core issue, that's the head. The head and whatever, nation here. And you mean this a head man, you come sit on there. If we govern the nation well, all get something by flow right. People end up Simbagrab. That's my view. Now, why I propose or me suggest lo this a debate lo me, how you miss a forming government. Na style you me work adapt in a camp. Meeting or say you me need lo sinisim lik. Main one you miss our forming government, lo kissing prime minister. As the shadow minister, I talk lo display, I touch him on the point as well. Now I talk, Prime Minister, you may need to elect him by people. I want to view when me think or say you must hold him as talk strong. Prime Minister, he no can come to floor now you may by vote to here. Prime Minister, I'm learning public by voting. So that his focus, mind, full, body program is purely concentrated on steering the country. I'm not going to be seen you me or minister or coalition partner or Toito number you to play here. His focus should be purely the country. How country will go? Because if we sit down like this, continue to go down this path, we will never go anywhere. Please, me like you must talk to this plan. Prime Minister has to be voted by the public. That system we need to adapt. Presidential, if it means. Larry, all minister, who said, man, you come sit down here, Larry, you go walk to you. Government on electorate to you. Prime Minister's focus at this level. Today, you see, we are playing politics every day. You behind me, Prime Minister, me by giving you two states, one can you me on Sabia. And what happens? Our people suffer. Because he's not concentrating. He's concentrating. He's worried about vote of no confidence. 18 months grace period. This again something constitutionally me, I'm rubbish. That's what I think. That's the whole underlying issue. The common denominator is sit on Antapia. We need to fix that. Please. Starting next time, 2022 you go Sam. If it means 10 years, go down that part of amending that constitution. So that blind public voting prime minister. Now you mean Okata. Now sorry, people by voting prime minister. You mean you can worry about this layer. You mean the Robin are spending white money number one stuff. You see, we exactly got 29 more years before we arrive at Vision 2050. Somebody said him, you, some of you founding fathers are here. You know the pathway you set for us, this country. But I tell you, we are getting nowhere. Resources are wasted because Prime Minister is busy running around spoon-feeding everybody, just trying to impress everyone. That's the real issue. Our country will only rise when the leadership is very strong. Suppose Prime Minister, and bold, and son up, his focus, he is never disturbed by anyone. Confirm member concentrate on solo work here.
You make a point of order.
The member is saying is that the current Prime Minister is moving around every day, dishing out money to members of Parliament. Be careful on what you say. You have the right to express what you want on this floor of Parliament, but be careful on imputation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member.
Mr. Speaker, while I appreciate the learned member for Aitaperumi, it's an ongoing thing that we've come. And all I'm expressing is that I'm not implying to current government or whichever. I am saying that's the underlying denominator that's affecting our country. We got to think out of the box. In order for you to join the complete circle of a thing, you got to come out of the box and think different. We can't continue to go like this forever. That's my concern. You may talk, yet what does something come up? Some of us, we need to think that way. When can we make that amendments? When can we make such decisions? Hey, our country, if it needs to steer a different way, the captain and everybody will have to think different in order to save everybody. Vision 2050, I come back again, Mr. Speaker. We've exactly got 29 more years and 6 terms of Parliament. How do we arrive there? What does the Vision 2050 say? The Vision 2050 says everybody be wise, smarter, healthy, everything. Yet today, every one of us are very poor. The Prime Minister, for instance, today speaks that no one will be left behind. Everybody rich, black Christian nation, this and that. But we're not going to get there quickly because we're going to think different. We must think different. And I think that as leaders at that top, we've got to think different. You mean I'm saying no same yet, spoon feed yet stop here. What is something by me working? Now coming down to resource allocation. I think this last time law, you may give him lick, one, how much ogata stop here. It's just rubbish. We must think for the country, make a bold decision. Kiss him over something, put in big like cake, want to big like work the country. If it means doing this for that country, that province, do it. Not gonna give him lick, spoon feed everybody. We want, there's no impact at all. Such bold decisions need to come. Election is next year. Mr. Speaker, suppose, plenty blue, me put it on record. I will advocate this reform starting next year. Me come back, me place on record. Me come back next year, I will advocate yet. Lord, there's the agenda. Confirm Mosem. Me must talk to this reform laws. Start the election to leadership. The Prime Minister, please. Me concentrate the work of the country, no distance. And putting food down, work but come up. We need to amend that. The next 10 years, you may work yet. Now by the following next time or the following time, we need to go down that path. The country. Please, me urge him, we need to go down that path. Otherwise, we will never go anywhere. Because you mean by spoon feeding, you may yet stop, you go now. There's no impact for the country. Thank you, Tro.
Honourable Member of Luanguram.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Lok Sawe. Long Angoram. Thank you, too long. Games la legally time long. Aram voice plomina. Country too can sabe plenty time in Misana Playa. Make a big greater respect. Long you blow over members, governors, ministers, lo this Laos. Plenty time in Sidan, ami arimi talk. And I want to remind all of us that you must look sabe. O small people lo mipla 1-1 in Sidan loya. He give him mandate lo mipla. Na mipla come represent him all of this house. Na plenty time in Miss I stand up. Na imi got some grievance or all talk lo mipla. You miss away touching mipla all brataya. You miss Sidan lo this house. But we forgot that mipla ogata got same mandate. Where all people blow mipla give mipla. Now you have a greater respect because I want them this respect now, Mr. Nap na talk. Want them legally grievance blow me, Mr. Harim. Time you shoot him talk one blah minister or one blah member, you lose thinking on some people blame too. You give him the same mandate, long him, one kind of some you. In this country, it takes
our people to give us the mandate to come here and to represent them. Now, time ibla kam lo ya, it is for the common good of our people. That's the bottom line. We are representing our people. Whatever decision, one kind thing, when we put him come together, in a classroom, that we are here to, also mibla council mibla na school mibla na. We are here to represent our people, so that whatever we decide here on this floor is for the good of this country. So me got really grievance long how me look him, me bless I sit down, talk, meeting. Also, like we have our own caucus, the opposition, the government, some issues, you must put him aside. If you ever issue with a minister, go and see him, he's your brother. We are in this house to work together for the common good of this country. You look at thinking Osem, or me Osem, or former ministers. So she'll apply him some percent. Hey, you hand over, take over here. You have every right to go back and check this minister that you hand over with him and tell him, look, this lab me walkie come now, stop. Now, me look at you, sit down office, now come up. Let's do it. I can help. Yeah, help. I think let's help ourselves. And we help this country to go forward. Sorry, let me stand up now. We talk strongly, but meeting, that's the better way. And also help this parliament. Suppose you me look him, something, for example, we give him a system of parliament just recently went up. What's wrong? Give me to supporting parliament. Give me supporting Mibla yet, so that this country will become a better place for our citizens. There's a lot of issues here in this country. We touch law and order. We touch education, health issues. Those are yet, and all come stop. Law and order and companies never stop. We have problems in our own electorate, in our allergies, in our villages. This last stop, what's the way forward? Those are the questions that we ask ourselves. Please, me appeal lo this laos, lo this lavin on time. Me come lo talk sorry and appeal. Me man lo talk sorry. Me like him osem. Talk sorry em osem. Time sunny go down. You must talk sorry lo nalba brata. Holy man, and let's work together. You blog the intelligence on man, you blog sit down there. You blog at sabe. You blog all school you with your own professions, you blog sabe. We can help one another to run this country. No man is an island. Thinking blue and good plan. Opposition is contributing good ideas here. Government, you are contributing good idea. Or me, stop the government side. We are contributing good. Let's share our ideas together for a common good of our people. Me thinking of same straight. Lo you me walk also. Me no sana because me like Salim one black I thinking or whatever. But me think the better way to get this country going forward is working together. If we work together, our people will work together. And plenty issues here. We cannot, all got something at once and make things as miracle, huh? And by not come up. But we have good ideas, good law thinking stuff. Let's share it together. I'm like suggesting some kind grievance where me put him come to solo thinking blah blah. Plenty time me sit down. Let's work together. On the other side of the house, this side of the house, let's work together. Now me must get smile. Face blah. When you walk into this house, let's work with smile and let's get this country going forward. So me amamas, lo good lo leaders, lo kind time too, or some government whip, lo looking me sit down long, having no time. That's the way. We are mandated by our people to come and represent our people on this floor. Cancel all your business. You have other issues outside or meetings, cancel them. Sit down on the floor of parliament, now come up with some legislator, now pass him a good law whereby benefiting more people from the country. So we got big plans of this lavin and we talk, thank you long, upside Laos, now just side Laos, no leadership sit down on this lavin on time. Or governors, no ministers, no members on the both sides of the house, including Prime Minister. Speaker, thank you very much. Lo timely. You too, you member. You got electorate to worry about, Speaker. But you lo give him timely stuff. Let's all follow the same suit. Na mi blow kimosem. Lo good plan blow this country. You blow over the good plan line.
Nokor one people but God to support judge me 1-1. Thank you. God bless.
Honorable Governor of Lahore.
Thank you,
Northern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving us the opportunity to make a few comments or add to the grievance debate. I want to endorse what Member for Ingram just said. I think he made some very good comments, and I also like to commend our good member for North Fly, who made some very good suggestions that many of us here support. Thank you. I wanted to clarify the statements made sometime this week by the Honourable Member for Yalibu Pangia, the Honourable Peter O'Neill, who referred to the review of the public service payroll and made comments that it was to be done, or he inferred that it was to be done next year or whenever going into the future. I wanted to clarify, as the chairman of the Public Sector Reform Committee, that actually the review of the public service payroll will commence this year. In fact, I would commend the former Prime Minister because he initiated that review, although it took some time. And it took some time because of turf wars, or wars between various government departments as to who would lead, who is responsible, who would frame the terms of reference, whether it was lawful or not, etc., etc. The committee under my chairmanship was directed by, or not directed, but came to understand that this was a very important matter that needed attention. And as a result, we summoned all these departments to sit down at a round table and find a pathway forward so that we could address this matter. The public service payroll blowout was every year quite significant. Hundreds of millions of kina were disappearing into places unknown, and this review was well overdue. As a result of our efforts, the review has commenced. All government departments are now on the same page, and that review proper will commence once final documents are signed. A accounting firm, a reputable accounting firm, Deloitte, has been engaged to carry out this review, and it will commence before the end of this year. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On another matter, I wanted to clarify a report that appeared on the 8th of September on the Post Courier front page in regards to a project occurring in my province. Now, with due respect to our media who do a magnificent job of keeping us in line, sometimes they get carried away and embellish their reports. But I do commend them. They play a vital role. For instance, their publication of who's present during Parliament session. I must inform you that all of us have stepped up as a result of that. And though some of us may not be happy with what they're doing in terms of keeping us or keeping our people informed about who's present, it still plays a vital role in improving efficiency. But in this report, they fail to detail the period of time when this supposed contract was awarded or carried out or implemented. That period of time we have investigated is between the period 2007 to 2012. That was in regards to, this is in regards to a report that appeared on the 8th of September on the front page, which purported that a project worth about 2.7 million had never been implemented in my province. The fact of the matter is that the National Department of Health was completely responsible for this project. That's what we have investigated and found. And in fact, it is the procurement committee within that department, this same procurement committee that has been exposed in a PAC inquiry, which I was the deputy chairman of. So I would like the Minister for Health to take note, because that same procurement committee, or elements of it, are still around. So I wanted to make this clarification, and also the clarification that there were no members of parliament involved in that particular project. It was solely a department project, National Department of Health. We are going to get the names of those persons involved and present them to the minister and the police, and also assist the Justice Ministry, who have undertaken this very important effort to carry out these audits. In fact, I would like to go a step further and say, Minister for Justice, you should make sure that these reports are published on all our dailies. So all the projects in our country, wherever they are, be listed, and those responsible be named. So the people of this country can see what is happening to their public funds and taxes. And all of us, if we are responsible in some way or another, then we must correct or rectify the situation. In fact, I do remember that during the time when the contract was awarded, they also awarded a contract, National Department of Health, also through that same corrupt procurement committee, which somehow exists to this day. They also awarded a contract for the building of a medical storage facility. That contract was awarded to a male nurse who has no building experience and was living in a settlement and had been paid for 9 years. Even though he never went to work, he was running around building contracts. He had no experience, never even built a chicken shed, but he was awarded that contract as well. Those are the 2 points that I wanted to rectify before you, Mr. Speaker. And finally, I want to just make some comments in regards to a matter that I feel needs more attention from all of us. And I commend the member for Kiriwina-Goodenough, who is now very concerned about the environment, and I'm very happy to see this. He is actually correct. We have to pay attention to what's happening with our environment, especially now. We are now living in the Anthropocene age. That is what geologists name as the age when man and their activities have an impact on Earth. And throughout the world, we are seeing a lot of issues as a result of this Anthropocene age, the effort of man and his activities and how they are impacting on Earth, on nature. And we must pay close attention to this. Because as long as we are connected to nature, we'll be fine. But as we drift away and we convert our natural environment into unnatural environment, even unnatural foods and substances that we consume, giving rise to unnatural thoughts and whatnot. In Papua New Guinea, we are home, we are on the island that is home to the third largest rainforest in the world. This has been said many times. We still have 70% forest cover, but for how long? For how long? At the rate we are going, it's frightening to imagine what Papua New Guinea will be like in the next 20 years. For instance, the SABL inquiry, where 50,000 square kilometers of land was illegally taken by various companies, foreign companies, by the way. That inquiry cost 13 million kina, was initiated on the 29th of June 2011 by Prime Minister Sam Abal at that time. There were 75 specific SABLs to review. Only 44 were actually reviewed because all 75 were reviewed, but only 44 were presented in the reports presented by 2 of the commissioners. The third commissioner did not present his report. Of those 42 that were reviewed, 38 were deemed illegal. Illegal. But those SABLs are still operating. But now they're operating under what they call forest clearance authorities. And by the same companies, still involved. That report is housed with the Justice Ministry. Minister for Justice, take note and take immediate action in this regards to this report. Whilst we are concerned about the environment, whilst we are concerned about what's happening to our natural environment, the trees and henceforth, these characters that were responsible for destroying it are still out there, destroying it at will and whim, totally inconsiderate to our future. So I would like, if these 3 particular ministries, please take note of these particular statements that I have put forward. Well, these 2 ministries, the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of Health. And please address these matters. Mr. Speaker, with that, I want to thank you for giving us time to be able to present our comments and statements and grievance debates. And I want to wish you happy independence this coming Independence Day. Thank you.
The question is that grievance debate be noted. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
Notice. The Minister for Finance gives notice that he shall present a bill for an act to amend the National Procurement Act 2018 to further make provision for the management of national procurement, including those relating to provincial governments and local level governments, as required by the organic law on provincial governments and local level governments, and for related purposes. The Minister of Finance gives notice that he shall present a bill for an act to amend the Public Finances Management Act 1995 to further manage the financing of national procurement, including those relating to provincial governments and local level governments, as required by the organic law on provincial governments and local level governments, and to further allow for the management of public finances and for related purposes. The Minister for Finance gives notice that he shall present a bill for an act to amend the District Development Authority Act 2014 to align the procurement undertaken by district development authorities to the National Procurement Act 2018 and to further allow for the management of public finances and for related purposes.
Honorable Prime Minister. What is your point over there, Honorable Governor?
My point of order is that today is Friday, and you may not suspend him standing order, and you're allowing, Parliament to sit. So can we formally suspend standing order?
That is what I guess the Prime Minister is going to do now. Honorable Governor. Honorable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I ask Leave of Parliament to move a motion without notice, please.
The question is that sleep granted? Leave granted, Mr. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, before I move the motion, let me say thank you very much to all members of Parliament on both sides of the House for sitting right through. As I was saying earlier this week, many times we get accused for working short hours, but far from the truth, and contrary to that, all of us give long hours in service to our country. And I thank each and every one of you for sitting up right through Friday. And Mr. Speaker, the motions that I'm trying to move, firstly, is that I move that Parliament would have considered sitting beyond 1 o'clock today, firstly. Secondly, the Parliament meeting, I propose that we suspend the standing orders that would prevent Parliament from meeting on Monday, the 13th of September 2021 at 10 o'clock a.m. Secondly, the Parliament business on the day would be prayers, petitions, notices, our usual question without notice, paper, especially from the Prime Minister, as we face our 46 years of nationhood, ministerial statements, and our government business to be presented on this day. And thirdly, Mr. Speaker, our Minister would move for an adjournment during any time at that meeting on Monday. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. We have a point of order. What is the point of order, Honourable Member?
Mr. Speaker, Sorolo, me disturb him that's all. Since it's 46 years of independence in our country, suppose madam if I come, at least you may some color, true color long. Papua New Guinea, you may come, Lord, this la house man blow you me. Awesome, Mr. Speaker. Me through my talk that's all. You yet got authority power of this la house, so you can talk sawalo me plan and me black and harim go. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Member Long. Point of order you make him. Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that Parliament adjourn to Monday, 10 o'clock, Monday, the 13th of September, 2021. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Honourable members, Parliament now is adjourned to Monday, 13 September at 10 o'clock a.m.